Tradie is at it again, guys. We've let him off the leash one more time, and he's reeled in a big fish. Maybe not a big fish, but hey, a BIGOA sound is going down at Arden Street right now. Another trade has gone down. I need to try and make sure I can say his name correctly. BIGOA Nyuon, I'm pretty sure it is. If I'm saying that wrong, someone please correct me. But Dylan also does correct me in this episode. That's right, Dylan is back. You know what time it is. Every time a trade goes down, we get his insight and perspective on the person that we've signed. So we may as well jump straight into the interview. I don't think there's too much else to say, really. We talk about Biggie, we talk about Toby Pink, we talk a little bit of where that leaves our key defenders. Does that mean we're not going to sign someone else? Does that mean our drafts change? We get into that sort of at the end. After this interview with Dylan, I asked for your thoughts on the signing today. We're going to read out a few of those, and then that's probably about it. So we'll get into the interview. Don't forget, at Further North Pod on Facebook and X or Twitter. I don't know which one to call it. At Further North Podcast on Facebook. It's also on YouTube as well. Thank you to all the people watching on YouTube. The last podcast was one of my biggest I'd ever done. So that was really, really nice. Follow the socials. If you can leave a like and a review on Apple or on Spotify, I'll read those out as well. I've got a couple to read out after the interview as well. So plenty to come after the interview. That's enough lollygagging. Here's Dylan. So another big trade, a big trade has gone down. And as you guys know, at this point, we have to get our trade and non-North related player expert on Dylan. He's back. You guys enjoyed him last time, so we've recruited him back on. It's 9 p.m. He's grumpy. As far as I know, he hasn't had any sips of tea just yet like last time. But how's how's life?
Forgot about that. Good, mate. Yeah. I had my Bucks on the weekend, so yesterday was a complete write-off. I didn't come good till about 4:30, 5 p.m., something like that. But yeah, back at it now and ready to talk some trades.
Lucky the trade didn't go down yesterday. Otherwise, you would not have been answering my message.
No, I was nowhere yesterday. I was genuinely just on the couch and just trying to hydrate but I'm back now.
Unreal. All right, well, we may as well get into it then. Enough small talk. We've made a massive trade today. Arguably, I'd say biggest of the trade window so far. Welcome to the club, BIGOA Nyuon. Did I say that correctly?
Nyuon.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's close.
BIGOA Nyuon. I think people are nicknaming him Biggie, and I think that's maybe what he was called at Richmond and through his youth days. Yep. So we'll call him Biggie. Apologies if he doesn't want to be called that, but Biggie, feel free to message me and we can talk about your nickname going forward. But basically, we've got BIGOA Nyuon, and we've traded pick 65 in the 2023 National Draft. Now, straight off the top of your head, just give me your thoughts.
Yeah, we were really close to signing him just as a free agent, but that would have diluted our pick 3 compo, I believe, for Mackay. So, our pick 3 would have gone backwards if we signed him as a free agent. So,
was that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it would have diluted our Mackay compo. So, to get him into the club's great. We gave up basically nothing for him, essentially, because this draft period, it's quite kind of well known that list spots are quite hard to come by at the moment, and they predict that there might only be between 40 and 50-ish draft picks taken. So what was it, 63?
65.
65. So, we're giving up essentially nothing for him. So, very exciting. 200-centimetre key defender who is hyper athletic. He's a bit of a freak. Like, he's got extremely good vertical jump, so he can play essentially taller than he needs to. and he's versatile because he can go through the ruck as well. So they've picked up a good one there. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for what we gave up, I mean, you're right. I've heard the same sort of things about the depth of the draft, and it's very top heavy. But yeah, you're right. Maybe not much to pick after, or clubs might not even pick after about 50. So pick 65 with all of the picks we've got earlier in the draft, it's really not much to give up at all. And he seems a little bit like one of those sort of raw talent guys, I guess. I dove into as many highlights as I could find on YouTube about him. And it's interesting. It's like when he was playing low-level footy, he looked really good and imposing on the game. He competes. He's good in the air. He's played multiple positions, like you said, as well. It lists him on the AFL website as a ruckman, but he, I think, is more known for being a key defender, but then also looks like in his junior days he played a bit of forward as well. And Clarkson seems to like those really versatile guys. But yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. We didn't really give up too much. And for a guy whose ceiling could potentially be high, not much to really give up there. I'd say getting a physical player back in a position we need means we've won the deal if we had to pick it, but it's maybe not one of those.
And I think the listeners and yourself, Josh, listening back to the last podcast, I don't love saying who won the deal. Like I'm very on this, but I 100% think we won this deal because, like you said, we're so light on key defenders and talls, and to give up essentially nothing for him is a big win, I think. And you are right in that Biggie's ceiling is limitless. Essentially, we don't know. Like, he's quite untapped. He's only played one AFL game. It was against Hawthorn, and looking at the highlights of that, his ability to follow his man and get the spoil in was quite impressive, I thought. I was quite impressed with his ability to just kind of close distance quickly and get the spoil in. Probably where he needs to, I guess, improve is start to get involved in starting our counter attacks from the back line, from what it looks like, and just backing himself in and just building confidence, I guess, to be able to turn those spoils maybe into a couple of grabs as well, so we can kind of flick the ball around and get on the attack. But yeah, I think it's a great get, and I don't like committing to North winning a trade, but yeah, I think it was for sure.
I know it's like a PTSD. It's a Vietnam style flashbacks about North winning a trade. So look, I understand it's a touchy subject.
Yeah, and look, it does make me feel for Aiden Bonner, and it's like a team, and I don't want to bring up Aiden Bonner too.
Yes, you do, mate. You do want to bring up Aiden Bonner.
I bring him up later on in the podcast usually, but I'll go here and say that his spot is,
under threat.
It's very much under threat, unfortunately. But
yeah, thank God. For those listening and hearing Dillard for the first time, I have seemed to dig out the number one Aiden Bonner fan in the entire world. So if you want to roast him in the comments for that, please feel free. I think he's all game for it and deserves it for having that sort of opinion. I love his passion, and I'll never go against that, but maybe a slightly misguided viewpoint. But hey, maybe Aiden Bonner turns into the utility we need. Do we not draft Harley Reid and put him in the centre?
Well, I'll say this to all the listeners out there. You guys have been very kind to me so far, so I'm sure that I'm probably due to cop some feedback.
His head's getting big, guys. Bring him back down to earth. Just respectfully bring him back down to earth just a little bit.
Just some constructive criticism probably wouldn't go astray, because I'm being left unchecked at the moment, I'll be honest. So you could probably go pretty hard at me.
Yeah, that's fair. I might get in the comments myself.
Maybe I'll see Josh spotting me in the comments. So
Absolutely. I'll get one of my many burner accounts involved.
Yeah, like
Kevin Durant might be there as well. Yeah.
But no, it's going to be interesting, super interesting to see what lineup they go with in terms of the key defensive posts next year.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I wrote down about him here, I think he competes really well, but I think he has pretty decent game awareness. I know he's only played one AFL game, but the times he was around the ball, I think he was a decent decision maker, knowing when to put the spoil in, making a decent handball or getting at least a safe kick away, which Ben Mackay did scare us a few times last season. Ben Mackay's a much better defender than Biggie. Let's not get it too twisted, but he seems like he's got a little bit of game awareness about him, and it looks like when the ball hits the ground, he's able to make a handball or, grab a player to tackle them to the ground or something like that as well. I did see Gunston, I think it was, shrug him in a tackle, but let's hope he gets in the gym and beefs up a little bit. He's already, 90-odd kilos, I think. So, yeah, look, a very raw talent, and I wouldn't be expecting him to come in and dominate straight away. I think it's going to take some time for him, but almost like a Majak Dor in a way. If you can find his spot, he could be something really, really handy for this defense, because that season that Majak played on halfback, I thought he was phenomenal. Like 2018, maybe it was 17 or 18, it was one or the other. And he was intercepting. It was the same year he took one of the marks of the year, I think. And yeah, it's just an untapped amount of potential. With these guys, with their genetics and their athletic ability, he could turn into an absolute tank. So look, let's hope he gets in the gym, works on those pipes, and it becomes that big intercepting defender that we need, because I reckon this kid could be a fan favorite pretty quick.
Yeah, and he's very much untapped, and I think with some more game time in the ones, I guess, he'll be able to get a little bit more flair with his game. It seemed like in his AFL debut, he just didn't want to make a mistake, and he just kind of like gave the easy handball like straight away, which is great. Like, I love that he's willing to do that, but I'm sure as he grows, he'll start to bite off some kicks and that sort of stuff. So, that season from Majak was ridiculous. That was so good. I just wish they moved him there earlier. That mark, I think, was against Collingwood, I believe. That was an incredible mark. So good. And I think if Biggie does play, he would kind of be more of an intercepting, like you're not playing Biggie on like a Hawkins or a
Tex Walker.
or one of those.
Depends how much he beefs up though, doesn't it? Like, if he puts on some size, he's already got the frame to be able to do it. It's just getting that extra, 8 to 10 kilos on him. And you never really know, to be honest. And like you said before, he's listed at 197 centimeters here. But the way he jumps and leaps, I mean, the dude could be 187 centimeters and still compete in the ruck. So, he just excites me. I don't know. Majak Dor is one of my favorite players, and his athletic ability was just unbelievable. We don't have a defender that's as athletic like that. And if he could be anything like that in that back line, I'd be so happy. I'd be going straight to the merch, to the Rouge shop, and I'd be buying his badge.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they actually do see him fitting. I assume it's backline, but who knows? They might roll him through the ruck. Like, you just don't know.
I would love that.
Clark. Yeah. So, like, who knows whether we're going to get some more depth for our ruck stock, or whether we're going to get another key defender. Like, we might even – it all depends on that. We might still look at a Dougal Howard or Tom Cleary from Port. Like, they're still viable options that are on the trade table, that are seasoned AFL players that could hold down the defence for a couple of years until we, develop a Toby Pink or Biggie Nyuon. So.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, great segue there. Let's go into Toby Pink then. He's obviously been officially signed a couple of days ago, but we knew it was coming. I talked a little bit about him a couple of podcasts ago, but I thought this would be a good chance to maybe dive in a tiny bit more. He did an interview on, let me find what radio it was, because I listened to it today. Was it just on Trade Radio? I can't remember. This is brilliant podcasting. I should have this in front of me. Toby Pink on Trade Exchange, and he got interviewed, and a couple of little notes I wrote down about him. North have been contacting him sort of before the finals this year to come on board. So clearly they're pretty interested in him. He was originally meant to be picked up by North in 2020 until COVID sort of struck. I think he signed for the VFL team, but then when COVID hit, it didn't really work out, and he sort of went back to South Australia. When he was drafted, he was sort of drafted as a forward, and he played as a forward. And I hope I've written this team name right, Glenelg in the Sandful, but has been a defender for the last couple of years down in the Sandful, and by all reports has absolutely dominated, and the best key defender in the Sandful, which is very exciting. I don't know the quality or the level of the Sandful, but hey, it's a big key defensive body. I don't have his height and his weight listed here, unfortunately, but what do you think about this signing? And, you know, do you think this guy is going to be a starter, or do you think it's more of a VFL sort of signing?
I think he's 196 centimeters, so he's fairly big.
He looks mid-90s as well in kilograms, if I was just looking at him.
Yeah, he actually does remind me a little bit of Mackay in that he's a great mark. He's not afraid to back himself in and try to take those intercept marks while playing on very good key forwards in the Sandful. Like Glenelg went on this year to win the premiership in the Sandful, and he was a massive part of that. And I actually do see him. I think I might see him starting. Like I think he might get a game earlier than someone like Biggie. Like Biggie needs a bit more development, in my opinion. But Toby Pink is a guy, like he's 25, he's a bit more mature, a bit stronger, and just has those reps of, you know, playing for an extra 3 years and playing on good key forwards in the Sandful. So I see Toby Pink playing pretty early.
Okay. No, that's interesting because... Sorry, you go.
Yeah. Sorry, unless we sign someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see him getting early games, for sure.
Okay.
Just I mean, and it's just judging by watching him in the Sandful, but yeah, he reads it really well. He seems like a natural footballer. And you know, you see him kind of press up the field and take those intercept marks on our half forward line, and he looks a player to me, and yeah, I love that he backs himself to take the marks. He does play a lot like Ben Mackay.
Yeah. It's very interesting because there's been some reports and some stories written that maybe Clarkson doesn't like that type of defender, like that Mackay. If you think back to a lot of those, the Hawks teams with a Brian Lake and a Josh Gibson and that sort of stuff, it's, you know, not your typical couple of twin tower defenders down there. And you're right. That's the other point I was going to bring up was he is 25 and he is a much more mature body, maybe could replicate something like a Tom Stewart at the Cats has done. Which would be great. And the fact that he's got the physical capability, the fact that he did get drafted to the Swans, he was going to come to our VFL team, he's gone home, and he's moving back to Melbourne again, I think shows that he wants it, or he's going to put his whole effort into it. And I think, you know, if you've got the frame, you've got the footballing ability in your minds there, maybe he could be that sort of Tom Stewart for us. Not exactly the same sort of type of player, but I mean, come in and make an impact early on. He just seems like a switched on sort of guy. Hearing him speak, I mean, shy sort of country kid, he loves his fishing and things like that, he did say. But I think it's an interesting signing with him and Biggie, and we may as well get on to the next question here, because this sort of leads into it. Who starts next year as your key defenders as it is now?
Yeah, so I think you go with Aiden Core, obviously. You go with Cal Dawson, and you go with Toby Pink.
That's interesting, yeah.
And
so that's the thing, isn't it? Do you go your three talls? Because I think we had much more success with two talls at the back. I know when they tried to play Aiden Core as the third tall, he was probably the worst player on our list. And everyone knows my thoughts on Aiden Core. But then when Griffin Logue went down and there was him and Mackay, he looked like a really good player, which I'd genuinely never seen before in his time at North Melbourne. So it would be interesting to see which way he goes. I mean, I saw Dawson as a very similar player than Aiden Core when he played. I remember his game against Essendon last season, and he was more running off half back and kicking to players on the wing and things like that. So I'm pretty worried that we don't have a proper stick on a Hawkins, on a Tex Walker type defender. But, you know, does Callan Dawson get a game over Toby Pink, do you reckon?
I think Toby Pink is the guy that's going to play on the Hawkins type. Yeah, I think he's the one. And look, you make a valid argument for sure. Like Aiden Core looked 100 times better as soon as Griffin Logue went down with his knee. So you could be 100% right. My only worry is like it kind of asks a Luke McDonald almost to kind of play, I guess, the third tall, which, again, no offense to Luke McDonald, but, you know, coming off quite a poor season, I don't exactly trust Luke McDonald right now.
Do you think that a Jackson Archer or a Miller Bergman could do something like that, though?
Archer, yes. He's not that tall, though, or strong, so I don't know whether Jacko is ready yet. I like Miller Bergman kind of in more of an attacking halfback role rather than that kind of hard defensive role. So, yeah, maybe you play Core and Pink as our two key posts, or you could play Core and Dawson as our two key. I mean, either way, I think your back line is made up of, you know, Core, Luke McDonald, Miller Bergman, Josh Goda, and then, you know, one of Zach Fisher and Harry Sheasel.
I reckon Jackson Archer gets I'd be putting him in my 22 person. I know this isn't the topic in question right now, but I love Jackson Archer. I think he consistently plays next year. Just a gut feel.
Yeah. I think jury's out for me on Jacko Archer at the moment. I think he had some good moments. He's certainly a competitor, which I think, I mean, fans like it, and Clarkson obviously likes it, I think, as well. He's a guy that I don't like. You don't have to give him the ball, which is probably a good thing. Like, he just kind of asks and does it. So in that aspect, I can see him playing. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't really, what I would be doing with the defense. I think there's a part of me that really wants Biggie to play. But I think you're right. I think he is maybe too raw. I do think it has to be Aiden Core. I really want a guy like a Toby Pink in there. And then I guess depending on defensive scheme, maybe then throw Callan Dawson in. That might be where I'd go with that. But hey, look, it's each to their own. You know, none of us really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it might come down to matchups of that team. So that team might have a smaller team where we just only go in with the two talls, or they might have three quite tall forwards where we might have to play all three. Yeah, I think something that I like is that they have got genuine competitors there, which is great. You know, I mean, all you can ask for as a fan, and as a coach, that should be the minimum, that they go out there and compete 100% every time. And that's why I know he's not a backman, but like someone like Mabby or Chol, like I just don't think that he gives his 100% every game.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't go hard enough, in my opinion. Like he's a bit lazy. And whereas I'm hoping these guys that they're bringing in, like Toby Pink, who's, you know, been cut from an AFL list and he's moving to Melbourne now, he's hungry for it and wants it, you know, and is gonna dig in every single contest, which is what we want.
Yeah, for sure. So 2 more questions. Does this mean that we're not signing any more defenders? Does this mean we're not getting that experienced Tomlinson, Nick Haynes type defender?
Yeah, I think Nick Haynes is definitely off the table, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know whether it means that. There are still some good key defenders out there that we could get.
Even like a James Stewart or something like that as well.
Yeah, James Stewart's available. We talked about this. We'd both take Adam Tomlinson in a heartbeat. Dougal Howard's available. Tom Cleary from Port Adelaide is available. Quite, you know, veteran key defenders that can definitely hold down a spot for a couple of years. I'll be interested to see what they do from here because they could potentially get one more, I think. Because if you look at our VFL, our key defenders would be, you know, in my opinion, Biggie would be starting in a key defensive role in the VFL, and then, I think you'd probably need one more. Like, and that one more would be the choice of whether Aiden Bonner gets delisted or not. And I'm not even trying to make a joke, an Aiden Bonner gag here, but I genuinely think that decision kind of rides on him staying with for one more year, like getting a year contract or not. Yeah.
I think I'd still like to pick up someone like those guys you mentioned. I mean, my gut tells me we're kind of done now. I think the trade deadline ends on Wednesday, and I know you can still sign delisted free agents and things like that as far as I know, but I don't know. My gut's telling me that we're done here in key defence. You know, Griffin Logue has got to come back as well, and that's going to put more stocks into the key defence. And I think Clarkson's going to bank on, you know, the young guys to be able to hold it down until a Griffin Logue does get back. Pink, Biggie, Aiden Core, Callum Dawson, Griffin Logue when he comes back. There's 5. You probably want one more, but someone's not going to get many minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, what for me when they signed Biggie today, my eyes, like I was like, great, but also what's going on down forward? So obviously now are they going to play Comben forward still? Like they still believe that he's a forward, obviously.
Great point, actually, because we've all heard that Comben may be going back, and that actually really excites me. But you spot on. I didn't even think of that just then. Comben could be that 6th, and then what is going on in that forward line?
So obviously they it seems like they're going to go forward with a Nick Larkey and one of Comben or Coleman Jones forward line, which
Zerha might play that second tall role again. I don't really like him in it, but yeah,
he's not a tall forward, and so Cam Zerha's too small to play a key forward role, and I think Coleman Jones, in again, this is just my opinion, I think he's too immobile to play a key forward role. That's why, and I see Coleman Jones as a ruckman, not a key forward. So I think that means that they plan on putting their eggs in the Charlie Comben basket in down forward.
Yeah. Okay, then last question: does this mean that Daniel Curtin is off the table to be drafted by North Melbourne?
I don't think so. I think when I think of Daniel Curtin, you know, he's a guy that can play pretty much every position on the ground. He's had some really good performances as a pure midfielder. So that bigger midfielder, he really does remind me of a Jordan Dawson type, that bigger bodied, strong midfielder with a massive left foot kick. So no, I don't think it means we're not getting him. Most people have him sliding though to number 6 in the draft, which would be
I can't imagine West Coast take their pick. If Harley Reid's off the board, I can't see a world where West Coast don't take Curtin. But I'm not saying you're wrong, absolutely not. But I don't know, with all the chatter, I guess I can't see Curtin sliding that far. Why do you think he might slide past West Coast at this point?
Well, we'll just say that the picks are going to stay as they are right now. So West Coast have number 1. I think they're 100% going to take Harley Reid. Number 2, there'll be a bid on Jed Walter for sure, who will be matched by the Gold Coast, so he'll go to Gold Coast. So the next 2 available picks are ours. And, some people do have Daniel Curtin sliding down the order to number 6. Others have him at like 3 or, 4. So I think we take one of McKercher or Dersma now. So it looks like that way. And then we take one of, it's either McKercher, Dersma or Curtin, I think, are the ones we're looking at. And, I'd love a Nick Watson. He'd be fantastic. I don't know how a 5 foot, I don't know what he is, 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah, I mean, like Bobby Hill and Charlie Cameron are also pretty small guys. I mean, I'm not really that worried about people's size, like forward size, to be honest. I don't know why it really matters. I mean, they're not there to be tall anyway. They're there to be small and agile and crumb packs. And, I don't think it'd bother me too much, but other people seem to think otherwise.
I just don't know. Like, we'll see. I guess we'll see on draft night, but he could potentially slide as well. So I think it's one of McKercher, Daniel Curtin, or Zane Dersma. It looks like it feels that way. So, I'd love Daniel Curtin. I'd love McKercher and Curtin. That's what I would take. Or Dersma and Curtin. I think we need a bigger body.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you're still in the camp of were you a trade up for one for Reid?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was hearing Nathan Buckley talk about it today. Actually, if we offer to 15 and 18 or something, like that's 3 first round.
That's massive. I don't know if I'd want to offer that though. That's heaps.
So much. And if you're West Coast, how do you knock that back?
Yeah. To me, it's like you offer them. If your first serious offer is 3 and 18, and see if you can get 1 and 2, and then you offer 2 and 18. But if you're given anything more like 17, but like one of those 2 or 3 and 15 to me is even maybe a little bit too much just to move up one spot unless they're real confident that this is the guy. But look, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. That's for another podcast or this draft chat, I reckon. But look,
I think we if we don't end up with pick 1, I think we definitely take Curtin because again I think he's 197 centimeters. He could potentially grow more, and he could play key position.
Yeah,
like he could
that's true.
Be a key position player for the next 12 years. So, I would definitely take Curtin if he's still on the board. Definitely.
Okay. We might go from. Sorry, you go.
No, like you take your positional, like what you need positionally. In my opinion, who's the best positional fit for what we need, particularly right now in the stage of our development as a club. Like we've got a lot of midfielders, and I think we need a bigger key defender.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like take Harley if he's there. If not, then we've got to start looking at positions instead of talent. I think that, I wouldn't be taking too many mids near the top there, but hey, like I said, it's all TBA at the moment. But we're going to turn into a club where we've gone from being like, we've got no key defenders to if we draft Curtin or get a James Stewart or something like that, we're going to have too many. So who knew that in 2 weeks that could have absolutely flipped, and now we're bursting with key defenders, and not even your mate Bonner's on the roster. So, too much drama to play out still.
A lot of drama, and obviously we've got a lot. Yeah, and you're right. We do have a lot of midfielders, and just on the midfielders, I do feel for guys like Tom Powell and Charlie Lazaro, because, when they do play VFL and through their under-18s years, they were starting midfielders, These guys started in the midfield. In VFL, they start in the midfield. And then when they get called up into the AFL, they get put in a forward pocket.
Yeah, so it's just the level though, isn't it? Like, it's cruel. I completely agree with you, but yeah.
You just can't, like, it's so tough for them to go, to perform in a position that they don't even play. So, like, yeah, we've got so many midfielders and potential people that can roll through the mids. So I think that's even more reason to take a Daniel Curtin.
Yeah. No, I agree. But we can never complain about having depth, because look what we've been through the last few years. So it's just the industry at the end of the day. But I do agree with you. They're good talents, but if you're talented enough, you'll get in that team. Everyone got opportunities last year as well. They can't say they didn't. So if it has to be in a slightly different position, it has to be that. But I'm never going to complain that we've got too much depth. I think I've learnt my lesson over the last few years, But
I think it's a sign of a strong club if good players aren't getting, really. So that's what we need. We need pressure on spots, and we need a healthy list, and we need pressure coming from the VFL to for people to be dropped. It's a high performance industry. So
cool. No, I completely agree. Well, I think that's just about it, my friends.
Is that it?
Yeah,
quick one.
Nice and quick, mate. We're not going to keep the listeners on the ropes too long here. Let's get this out to the world. So thank you for coming on once again. I need to edit this and actually get a decent night's sleep. So I'm gonna go do that. Go and make yourself a cup of tea. Rest your brain after all those beers on the weekend. And look, when we get the Aidan Bonner 5-year or 8-year deal, maybe now, I'll call you up and we could do a pod.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is just news before is that Blake Drury, George Wardlaw and Harry Sheasel are in the US, and apparently they're going to meet up with Clarko over there, which is pretty cool.
Lads on tour
with Clark.
The audio did cut out a little bit towards the end there, but thank you to Dylan for coming on once again. Another cracking episode and another way too much Aidan Bonner chat once again. I've tried to tell him, guys, but he won't listen. He loves Aidan Bonner. So let me know in all the comments, Facebook, Twitter, all that. Give him a polite roasting about Aidan Bonner, please. That would be very funny. If there's some really funny ones, I might read them out in the next pod. Talking about reading out things on the pod, I got a couple of your comments on the signing of Biggie. So let's have a look here. Just over on Instagram, Peter D. Flaherty says, why not? Tall, skilled, and desperate for a chance at AFL level, costing us nothing. That's a good outlook on it. I agree with that completely. You don't know how high his ceiling could be. I know it's only, VFL footy and, lower grade footy, but he's got something about him. Very raw talent, but he's got something about him. Jake.J29, he's already crowned him the GOAT, and I don't think that's an overreaction at all. Joseph_Baines27. Great get for pick 65. Turn him into a beast. Get in the weight room, Biggie. I want those Majak pipes on you, son. I believe. I hope I run into it like Eddie. The reason I'm saying this, I ran into Majak Dor at a Marvel years ago. he wasn't playing one of the games. He was standing outside the bathrooms and I came out. The dude was genuinely gigantic and not just height, like width. What a specimen of a human. So, Biggie, get in the weights room, my friend. Now we've got Arnie Das 88, not sure of current position. Will be trained to be an intercepting back. Great get for pick 65, feels a need. And I think we can all concur with that, isn't it? It's just a good deal to do for pick 65, which would turn into a nothing player anyway, unless we draft the next Nick Lucky. Callum Sav 07, we absolutely robbed everyone with heaps of fire emojis. Correct. Once again, Brady's cooking. He knows something we don't. Biggie is going to be an absolute star, maybe All-Australian fullback next year. _Danica_C, into it. If one of he or Pink works out, that's a win given how little we've given up for both of them. And I think that's an awesome outlook on it. We've really given pick 65 for these two defenders. Yes, they haven't done much in the AFL as of yet, but hey, we're not looking to do too much next year. We want to improve next year. We're not making finals next year, so let's pay not much for a couple of guys and see if we can find any diamonds in the rough. Like we said in the interview before, what if Toby Pink is like a Tom Stewart? You never know. I'm trying to be optimistic, okay? Ben_Cheney. With him and Pink, I wouldn't be surprised if we passed on Curtin to grab the best talent available. Well, these questions are the ultimate questions, aren't they? And we're not going to know for about a month. We obviously did discuss that briefly before, but it's all hearsay. We don't know. We're just going with our guts. Brighton_Isles. Big bad Biggie. A very good even trade. He's certainly helping North's defensive depth. And that's it, isn't it? At absolute least, he's good depth in the VFL. I'd say I'd prefer him, and Dylan's not going to like this, I'd prefer him over Aiden Bonner. So, hey, sorry, Dylan. I apologise. Paul Petrocelli, we are winning the flag. He's called it early, and I completely agree. What I said about us not doing much all of a minute and a half ago, I lied. I lied completely. We are winning the flag. And Paul has guaranteed it. So if anyone has any issues, better call Paul. That was good. I'm such an idiot. Cooper Smith with a bunch of T's says, can't complain. Versatile, tall player for pick 65. He's only 22. Once again, another really decent outlook to look on this signing. So people seem to like Biggie. There was a couple of negative comments in there I missed saying list clogger or something like that, and I don't think that's it. Let's give the guy a chance, and maybe he turns into our best key defender. I'm excited for him. Before we go, a couple of little things to read out. I put a couple of polls up on Spotify, and I asked, who are you more excited for, Zach Fisher or Dylan Stephens? 57.7% said Zach Fisher, and 42.3% said Dylan Stephens. So that's an interesting one. I would have thought Zach Fisher would have won that by a mile. But you know what? I'm kind of more excited for Dylan Stephens, and I don't know why. I'm excited for Zach Fisher, don't get me wrong, but something about Dylan Stephens just makes me think he could explode. We have another one here. Would you have Jack Darling from a few podcasts ago? 43.5% yes and 56.5% no. Interesting. Close once again. I wouldn't mind him for like a year or two, but, you know, Dylan might be onto something there. If we've got all those key defenders, maybe Comben is staying forward, and I'd probably rather put time into him. So, hey, it is what it is. And once again, thank you for leaving your comments and reviews on Spotify and Apple. We have a comment here on Apple from, I got to get this name right, Vitsta. Fantastic episode. I love the emergency podcasts. Keep it up. I will definitely be listening in. Thank you so much for that comment, my friends. Hopefully you're listening to this one and you've heard your comment get read out. I should have been quicker on it. I should have done it in the last episode because that's from the Ben Mackay getting traded to Essendon. But hey, I'm not perfect, guys. Give me a break. It's late. It's after 10 o'clock. Okay, I should probably go and edit this and get it up for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy this podcast. Please give it all the love like you have the last one. The last one did really, really well. And I'm trying to be on top of everything as quick as I can. So share it with a friend. Tell all your North mates. The Further North podcast is where it's at. Give it a like. Give it a comment. And help me grow the community, guys. It's so good being able to interact with everybody. I couldn't do this without you guys at all. Well, I could, but no one would listen and I wouldn't be motivated. So there's the honest answer for you. Anyway, I'm off now. Time to edit. Talk to you guys soon. Biggie, Biggie sound. Oh, that's so stupid. Why do they end with that?